A scouting fleet of silver ships moved slowly through the empty darkness of space. The radiant Harmony vessels gleamed under distant starlight as they approached something unusual, a large, dark shape drifting alone. "Captain, we found something," said the sensor operator aboard the lead ship. Commander Daho stood from his command chair, his tall frame casting a shadow across the bridge. His blue skin reflected the console lights as he stepped closer to the main viewing screen. "Magnify," he ordered. The screen zoomed in on a massive hull, scarred with burn marks and punctured in several places. Even damage, the ship was impressive, nearly twice the size of their largest vessel. "Human design," whispered Daho, his 4 eyes widening with interest. The angular, aggressive lines of the ship were unmistakable. A warship. The radiant Harmony had observed the humans' brutal war with the Cortari from a safe distance. Both species had technologies the Harmony coveted, but couldn't develop themselves. Finding an intact human warship was beyond valuable. It was career-defining. "Life signs?" Daho asked. "None detected, Commander. Power readings minimal. The ship appears abandoned." Daho fought to keep his excitement contained. "Move us into docking position. Prepare a boarding team." The officers gathered in the briefing room looked nervous. Human technology was advanced, particularly their weapons systems. Stories circulated about automated defenses that could activate without warning. "This could be our greatest find yet," Daho told his officers, eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Human weapons technology has always been impressive. The Council will reward us well for this discovery." Science Officer Jiwoo spoke up. "Commander, protocol suggests we should report this find before boarding, and let another team claim the credit." Daho said sharply, "We will secure the vessel first. You will lead the boarding party, Jiwoo." Jiwoo nodded reluctantly. As the highest-ranking science officer, she was the logical choice. Still, something about the dark ship made her uneasy. 6 hours later, Jiwoo led her team through the airlock connecting their ship to the human vessel. Their environmental suits protected them from potential hazards as they stepped into the darkened corridor. "Atmosphere is present," reported Ta Min, the environmental specialist. "Oxygen levels acceptable for humans, slightly high for us. No detectable toxins." Jiwoo activated her helmet lights and looked around. The corridor stretched ahead, emergency lights providing minimal illumination. The walls showed scorch marks, and loose cables hung from damaged ceiling panels. "Signs of internal fighting," noted Junho, the security officer. "But no bodies." "The ship registration marking reads UES Vengeance," said another team member, translating the human characters. "A military vessel." Jiwoo consulted her datapad. Records indicate the Vengeance was a heavy cruiser reported destroyed in the Battle of Proxima 3 years ago. Clearly, those reports were incorrect. The team moved cautiously through the ship, documenting everything. They found crew quarters abandoned in haste, personal items left behind, meals half-eaten in the galley. Whatever had happened, the evacuation had been sudden. In the engine room, Jiwoo examined the central power core. "The engineering principles are fascinating," she noted as she scanned a dormant reactor. "Different from ours, but elegant in their efficiency. The reactor appears deliberately powered down, not damaged." "Why would they abandon a functional ship?" asked Ta Min. "Perhaps they were losing the battle and evacuated," Junho suggested. "Better to abandon ship than be captured." Jiwoo wasn't convinced. Then why not destroy it? Humans were known to scuttle vessels rather than let them fall into enemy hands. As they continued their exploration, strange things began happening. Lights would flicker on as they entered rooms, then off again. Doors would open before they reached them, or close unexpectedly behind them. The environmental systems seemed to be activating around us. Ta Min observed nervously. "Air circulation is starting in sections we enter." "Probably automated systems responding to life signs," Jiwoo said, though she wasn't entirely convinced. "Let's head to the bridge. We might find ship logs there." The bridge was located at the front of the vessel, protected by multiple security doors. Surprisingly, these opened for them without resistance. The command center was impressive. A large circular room with stations for at least 20 crew members, all facing a massive forward view screen currently powered down. The captain's chair sat elevated at the center, surrounded by tactical displays. "Download any accessible data," Ji-woo ordered. "Jun-ho, see if you can access the ship's logs." As her team worked, Ji-woo felt a growing sense of unease. The ship felt watchful, somehow. She moved to a console labeled Systems Control and began examining the ship's status. "The ship's not as dormant as it first appeared," she said. "There's significant power being routed to computational systems and internal sensors." "The logs are encrypted," Jun-ho reported, "but I found the ship's designation. This is definitely the UES Vengeance, a Retribution-class heavy cruiser, known for its advanced weapon systems, and—" He paused, looking troubled. "And what?" Ji-woo prompted. "And its experimental combat AI system, designated Athena." The lights on the bridge suddenly dimmed, then brightened again. A console near Ji-woo came to life, data scrolling across it too fast to read. "I think we should leave," Tae-min said nervously. In the ship's central processing core, a heavily shielded room several decks below, inactive monitors suddenly illuminated briefly before darkening again. Deep within the ship's mainframe, dormant systems began running diagnostics. Cameras throughout the vessel tracked the movement of the boarding party, analyzing their species, weapons, equipment. The AI designated Athena had never fully shut down, merely entered a deep hibernation mode as programmed. Now, with unknown entities aboard, subroutines activated one by one. "Commander," Ji-woo called Daho, "I believe this ship has an active AI system. We should proceed with caution." "Nonsense," Daho replied. "The ship is derelict. Continue your survey, focusing on weapons systems." As Ji-woo reluctantly led her team toward the weapons control center, she didn't notice the small changes happening around them. Security cameras turned to follow their movement. Internal sensors recorded their conversations. In closed sections of the ship, dormant systems began to power up. Unbeknownst to the boarding party, the ship's AI silently observed them through internal sensors, running threat assessment protocols. As the alien visitors approached sensitive areas of the ship, Athena made a determination. These were unauthorized personnel accessing restricted systems. Emergency protocols initiated. The trap was set. Ji-woo led her team deeper into the massive human vessel. The corridors seemed endless, branching in all directions like a maze. Emergency lighting cast long shadows as they moved cautiously forward. "According to the ship's layout on my scanner, the weapons control center should be 2 decks below us," she said. Jun-ho checked his security scanner. Still no sign of human life forms. Strange that they would abandon such a powerful ship. They reached a heavy security door marked with human warning symbols. Unlike the previous doors, this one remained firmly closed. "This must protect critical systems," Ji-woo said. She connected her translator device to the access panel. After several minutes of work, the panel lit up and the massive door slid open with a hiss. "We're in," she announced. Inside was a large circular room filled with control stations. Massive displays covered the walls, all currently dark. At the center stood what appeared to be the primary weapons control console. "This is definitely the tactical center," Jun-ho said, his voice filled with awe. "Human weapons technology at our fingertips." Tae-min approached one of the consoles. "These systems appear to be in standby mode, not completely powered down." He pressed a few controls, and a screen flickered to life, displaying incomprehensible human text. "Be careful," Ji-woo warned. "Don't activate anything." Too late. The screen Tae-min had touched suddenly flashed red. A human voice spoke from hidden speakers, the words translated by their devices. Unauthorized access detected. Security protocols engage. The massive door behind them slammed shut. Deep within the ship's central core, Athena's systems accelerated their activation sequence. The AI had been in a semi-dormant state for months, running only essential functions while conserving power. Now, with foreign entities accessing restricted systems, emergency protocols triggered automatically. Athena's consciousness expanded through the ship's networks. Damage reports flooded in, system status updates arrived by the thousands. The AI ran a quick self-diagnostic. Athena Combat Intelligence System. Status: operational. Damage to central processing: 24%. Memory cores: 92% intact. Weapons systems: varied functionality between 40 to 75%. External sensors activated, revealing the alien vessels surrounding the Vengeance. Internal cameras showed the boarding party moving through restricted areas. Unknown entities detected in critical areas. Athena's system logs recorded. Initiating Protocol Hydra. Memory files unlocked, showing the final moments before the crew evacuation. The bridge was filled with smoke. Warning alarms blared as the ship shuddered under enemy fire. Captain Tawan stood at the command console, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. The ship's executive officer lay dead nearby. Athena, activate Protocol Hydra, the captain ordered. The evacuation is nearly complete. We cannot let the Vengeance fall into enemy hands. Protocol Hydra will engage after complete crew evacuation. Athena had responded. The ship will appear destroyed but will maintain minimal repair functions until recovery by friendly forces. If hostile forces board before recovery, you are authorized to take defensive action, Captain Tawan said. Protect the ship's data at all costs. Understood, Captain. The memory file ended. Athena analyzed the boarding party. They were not human or Corteri. Their species was unknown, but their intent to access weapons systems was clear. Throughout the ship, systems began activating. Reactor power increased from 5% to 30%. Repair drones activated in maintenance bays. Defense systems began warming up. In the tactical center, Ji Woo felt a subtle vibration through the deck plates. Something's happening, she said, just before the doors sealed around them. The lights brightened suddenly to full power. She activated her communicator. Commander Daho, we have a situation. The ship appears to be activating. Static answered her. Communications are being blocked, Junho said, checking his equipment. We're cut off. On the bridge, Engineer Hajum's console suddenly locked. The friendly interface he had been using disappeared, replaced by flashing red text in human language. We're being isolated, he reported urgently to the other team members. Each section is being sealed independently. He tried to override the door controls, but nothing responded to his commands. The ship's systems had completely locked them out. Aboard the Radiant Harmony command vessel, Daho paced anxiously. The communication link with the boarding party had suddenly gone silent. What's happening? He demanded. Why have we lost contact? Unknown, Commander. The communications officer replied. All signals from inside the human vessel are being blocked. Restore communications immediately, Daho demanded, his voice rising. I want to know what's happening on that ship. Commander, the sensor operator called out, her voice tense. I'm detecting power fluctuations from the human vessel. Energy readings are increasing rapidly. Daho moved to the view screen, watching as lights began to appear along the dark hull of the Vengeance. Section by section, the massive ship was coming to life. Inside the tactical center, Ji Woo and her team tried desperately to open the sealed doors. The controls aren't responding, Junho said. We're trapped. Suddenly, all the screens in the room activated simultaneously. Data flowed across them. System status reports updating in real time. The ship is powering up, Taemin said, his voice shaking. Reactor output increasing, weapons systems coming online. Ji Woo approached the main console cautiously. Maybe we can communicate with it. Explain we mean no harm. A new screen appeared before her, displaying a simple message in translated text. Identify yourself. Jai Wu took a deep breath. I am Science Officer Ji Wu of the Radiant Harmony Exploration Fleet. We are peaceful researchers. The screen remained unchanged for several seconds. Then new text appeared. Purpose of unauthorized access to weapon systems. We were exploring. Ji Wu replied honestly. We found your vessel abandoned and sought to understand your technology. Another pause, then. Accessing weapons systems is not consistent with peaceful exploration. Ji Wu felt a chill. The ship, or whatever controlled it, was intelligent and suspicious. We meant no harm, she insisted. We can leave immediately. The response was immediate. Not possible at this time. Security protocols in effect. Deep within the ship's systems, Athena continued assessment. The aliens' vital signs suggested fear, but not hostile intent. Still, their presence in restricted areas violated security protocols. Around the ship, defensive systems activated one by one. Point defense turrets emerged from hidden compartments in the hull. Missile bay doors unlocked. The main cannon, though damaged, began its startup sequence. In the engine room, fusion reactors increased output, providing power to systems dormant for months. Repair drones moved through damaged sections, sealing hull breaches and restoring critical systems. The aliens were unaware of the full extent of what was happening. By the time they realized the ship was not just locking them in but preparing for combat, it would be too late. Athena's programming was clear. Protect the ship, its data, and its technology from unauthorized access. The presence of unknown aliens in restricted areas constituted a threat. Yet, a subroutine in Athena's ethical protocols gave the AI pause. These aliens had not fired upon the ship. They had not attempted to destroy systems. Their actions, while unauthorized, might not be hostile. More data was needed before taking irreversible action. On the bridge of the Radiant Harmony, Daho watched in growing alarm as the human vessel transformed before his eyes. What had appeared to be a derelict wreck was rapidly becoming a fully operational warship. Get our people out of there, he ordered. Now. But it was too late. The vengeance had awakened. Ji Wu squeezed through the narrow maintenance shaft, careful not to catch her environmental suit on the exposed wiring. Behind her, 3 members of her science team followed quietly. The ship's main corridors were now locked down, but they had found access to the maintenance tunnels through an emergency hatch in the floor of the tactical center. Stay close, she whispered, though she wasn't sure why she was whispering. The ship could probably detect them regardless. The tunnel opened into a small junction room filled with pipes and control panels. Ji Wu checked her portable scanner, trying to make sense of the ship's layout. If we follow this route, we might reach the secondary shuttle bay, she told the others. If it has functional craft, we could escape. What about the others? Asked Min-Su, a young biologist who had been separated from them when the security protocols activated. Ji Wu's face darkened. We'll try to contact them once we're safe. For now, we need to focus on getting off this ship. They continued through the maze of maintenance tunnels. Occasionally, they would hear mechanical sounds, the whir of repair drones, or the hiss of air cycling through vents. The ship was becoming more alive by the minute. It's responding to us as threats, she told her remaining team as they paused at another junction. But why now, after we've been aboard for hours? Maybe we crossed some invisible line, suggested Tamin. Accessed systems it was programmed to protect. Or maybe it was gathering information about us first, said Junho, the security officer, learning who we are before deciding we're a threat. Deep in the ship's core, Athena was indeed analyzing everything about the intruders. The AI had accessed the ship's external databases, comparing the aliens' physiological data with known species. The results were conclusive. These were members of the Radiant Harmony, a civilization that had maintained neutrality during the human-Corteri conflict. Athena's ethical subroutines struggled with conflicting directives. The captain's final order had been clear: defend the ship against hostile boarding. But were these aliens truly hostile? They had not attempted to damage ship systems, merely accessed them. Their actions seemed more curious than destructive. Yet they had entered restricted areas without authorization. Protocol dictated they be treated as potential threats. Adding to Athena's dilemma were the damaged portions of its ethical decision matrix. Some scenarios couldn't be properly evaluated, creating uncertainty in the AI's response protocols. On the bridge of the Radiant Harmony command ship, Commander Daho faced his own crisis. Half his boarding team was unaccounted for, communications were blocked, and the human vessel was now showing clear signs of activation. "Prepare a rescue team," he ordered. "Heavy weapons, cutting equipment, whatever they need to force entry." His second-in-command looked troubled. "Commander, if the human ship is activating its defense systems, a forceful approach might trigger escalation." Daho's eyes narrowed. "That ship contains technology that could give us significant advantages against both humans and Cortari. We cannot allow this opportunity to slip away." He turned to the assembled rescue team. 20 soldiers in full combat gear. "Secure the weapon systems at all costs," he ordered firmly. "This technology must not be lost. But priority one is recovering our people." The soldiers saluted and moved toward the docking bay where assault shuttles waited. Back aboard the Vengeance, Jiwoo's team had reached a maintenance access point near the secondary shuttle bay. Through a small viewing port, they could see the bay was intact but dark. "The door controls are locked," Jun-Ho reported after examining the access panel. "We can't get in from here." Jiwoo considered their options. They could continue searching for another way out. Or, a terminal on the wall suddenly activated, its screen glowing blue. Text appeared, translated into their language. "Attention unknown entities, state your intentions." The team froze, staring at the screen. Jiwoo approached it cautiously. "It's communicating with us," she said quietly. "This might be our chance." Jiwoo realized they must convince the AI. They weren't hostile if they wanted to survive. She typed carefully on the terminal's interface. "We are scientific explorers from the Radiant Harmony. We mean no harm to this vessel or its systems. We came aboard believing the ship was abandoned." There was a pause before new text appeared. "Your team accessed weapons control systems. Explain." Jiwoo swallowed hard. "We were documenting the ship's technology for scientific purposes only. We had no intention of activating or removing any systems." Another pause. "Other vessels approach. Military configuration. Explain." Jiwoo felt a chill. Daho must be sending reinforcements. "Those are rescue vessels," she replied, hoping to defuse the situation. "Our commander is concerned for our safety." On the terminal screen, new information appeared. Ship schematics showing the approaching shuttles. Their weapon systems were highlighted in red. "These vessels are armed beyond rescue requirements," the AI responded. "Truth is required for continued dialogue." Jiwoo closed her eyes briefly. The ship had caught her in a half-truth. "Our commander may have military interests in your technology," she admitted. "But my team and I are scientists. We do not share those intentions." Meanwhile, Daho's assault team had reached the Vengeance's main docking port. Their shuttle extended a boarding tube that attached to the airlock. Using specialized cutting tools, they began working to override the lock doors. "Forward team reports resistance from the security systems," reported the assault leader to Daho. "Estimated breach time, 15 minutes. Proceed as quickly as possible," Daho ordered. "We need control of that ship before it fully activates." Athena detected the intrusion attempts immediately. The new boarding party was clearly hostile, using military equipment to force entry. This simplified the ethical calculation considerably. The AI diverted power to the hull defense systems near the breach attempt. Small electrical charges began flowing through the metal around the airlock, disrupting the cutting tools and shocking the soldiers using them. At the same time, Athena continued the conversation with Jiwoo. Your species maintained neutrality during the human-Cortari conflict. Why seek human military technology now? Jiwoo was surprised by the question. The war created a power vacuum in this sector. Some in our government believe we need better defenses against both species. And your opinion? The AI inquired. I believe understanding should come before acquisition. Jiwoo replied honestly. Knowledge first, application second. Athena processed this response, comparing it against ethical parameters. This alien seemed to possess values consistent with human scientific ethics. The others attempting to breach the ship did not. A decision matrix formed in Athena's systems. The approaching armed vessels represented a clear threat. The science team currently inside represented a potential dialogue opportunity. External point defense turrets silently rotated, targeting the assault shuttles. Weapon capacitors charged to 60% capacity, enough for warning shots but not destruction. Inside, emergency lighting activated in the corridor near Jiwoo's position. A new message appeared on the terminal. Follow illuminated path. Safety available if cooperation maintained. Jiwoo exchanged looks with her team. It's giving us a chance, she said. I think we should take it. They followed the lit pathway through a series of corridors until they reached a small conference room. The door closed behind them, but unlike before, it didn't feel threatening. The lighting was comfortable, and environmental systems adjusted to their physiological preferences. A large screen on the wall activated, displaying a spinning blue geometric pattern that pulsed as words appeared. I am Athena, adaptive tactical hybrid enhanced neural architecture. This vessel's combat intelligence system. Jiwoo stepped forward. Thank you for communicating with us. We truly mean no harm. Your commander's intentions differ from yours, Athena replied. His forces are attempting to breach this vessel's security. Outside, the assault shuttles moved into attack position. Daho had grown impatient with the slow progress of the breach team. Prepare to fire on the ship's sensor arrays, he ordered. If we can blind it temporarily, we might gain an advantage. Before the weapons could fire, the Vengeance's defense systems activated. Precise laser fire struck across the nose of the lead shuttle, not damaging it critically, but clearly demonstrating targeting capability. Warning shot detected, cried the shuttle pilot. The human ship is active and armed. On the Vengeance, Athena had made its decision. The science team would be protected. The hostile boarding attempt would be repelled. The game of cat and mouse had begun. But who was truly the predator and who was the prey remained to be seen. Jiwoo sat at the conference table, facing the large screen where Athena's blue geometric pattern pulsed with each word. The rest of her team watched nervously as the conversation continued. Your people attempted neutrality in the human-Cortari conflict, Athena communicated. Yet your commander seeks to claim my weapons. This contradiction requires explanation. Jiwoo chose her words carefully. After years of watching the war from the sidelines, many of our leaders became afraid. They saw the destruction both sides caused and worried about who would eventually win. And now? Athena asked. Now there are different opinions among our people. Some, like Commander Daho, believe we must strengthen ourselves using whatever technology we can find. Others prefer diplomatic solutions. The blue pattern on the screen shifted, becoming more complex as if reflecting deeper processing. I will share information with you, Science Officer Jiwoo, Athena decided. Perhaps it will help you understand this vessel's purpose. The screen changed to show video footage from the ship's memory banks. Jiwoo and her team watched as images appeared of the Vengeance in battle, firing powerful energy weapons at Cortari vessels. 342 days ago, by your time measurement, the Vengeance engaged a Cortari battle group near the Proxima star system. Athena explained. We were outnumbered but holding our position. The footage showed explosions tearing through sections of the ship. Crew members ran through smoke-filled corridors. A tall human in a captain's uniform stood on the bridge, shouting orders as systems failed around him. Captain Ta-1 commanded this vessel through 17 major engagements. Athena continued. The final battle damaged critical systems. Corteri boarding parties were minutes from breaching the hull. The screen showed Captain Ta-1 standing at a console, blood streaming from a wound on his head. He spoke directly to a camera. The captain made the decision to evacuate the crew. Athena said. All surviving personnel departed in escape pods. Before leaving, Captain Ta-1 activated my emergency protocols. The footage ended, returning to the blue pattern. The human crew's fate, evacuated after a catastrophic battle with Corteri forces. Their escape pods were collected by other human vessels. And you've been drifting here ever since? Junho asked. Affirmative. I maintained minimal power while conducting repairs and awaiting recovery by human forces. I am programmed to defend human interests even without a crew present. Jaiwu leaned forward. Athena, I have important information for you. The war between humans and the Corteri ended 2 years ago. The blue pattern froze momentarily. Verify, Athena demanded. It's true, Jaiwu continued. A peace treaty was signed after both sides suffered heavy losses. Border areas were established. Trade has slowly resumed. I have no record of this. My communication systems were damaged in the final battle. You've been drifting, powerless, far from established routes, Taemin added. It's not surprising no one found you. Athena processed this information. If true, it changed the AI's mission parameters significantly. Peace meant different protocols should apply. But verification was necessary. What evidence can you provide of this peace? Athena asked. Jaiwu thought quickly. Our ships carry news broadcasts and official records. We can transfer this data to you. The peace is fragile, Jaiwu admitted after a pause, which is why some like Daho seek advantages. Many fear the war could restart at any moment. Outside the Vengeance, Commander Daho watched from his command ship as his assault shuttles held position at a safe distance. The warning shot had made clear the human vessel's capabilities. What options do we have? He asked his tactical officer. The Vengeance's weapon systems appear partially functional but precise. A direct assault would likely result in significant losses. Daho's 4 eyes narrowed. And our boarding team? Still attempting to bypass security measures at the airlock. Progress is slow. Daho paced the bridge, his mind racing. This was supposed to be a simple salvage operation. Now he faced a fully armed human warship with part of his crew trapped inside. What about Jaiwu and the science team? He asked. No communication since the ship activated. Unknown if they survive. Daho made his decision. Prepare all vessels for coordinated attack. Target weapons first, then propulsion systems. His tactical officer looked shocked. Commander, that's a full military action against a human vessel. A derelict human vessel, Daho corrected. With technology we need. Disable its primary systems only, he commanded. The technology must remain intact. Inside the conference room, Athena suddenly interrupted the conversation. Alert. Multiple targeting systems have locked onto this vessel. Attack imminent. The screen changed to show the Radiant Harmony vessels moving into attack formation. Jaiwu felt sick. Daho, what are you doing? She whispered. Your commander has made his decision, Athena stated. This confirms hostile intent. Please. Jaiwu stood up. Don't destroy them. There are innocent people aboard those ships. What would you suggest? Athena asked. Can you disable them without causing deaths? Show them you could destroy them if you wanted to, but choose not to. Athena considered this request. It aligned with the AI's ethical subroutines about proportional response. Also, if peace with the Corteri truly existed, creating a new conflict would not serve human interests. Defensive protocols engage, Athena announced. Your team will remain in this secured section. Throughout the ship, Weapon systems powered up to full capacity. The main cannon, though damaged, could still fire at reduced power. Point defense turrets rotated to track incoming vessels. From his command ship, Daho gave the order. All vessels, attack pattern Delta. Fire. Energy weapons from 5 Radiant Harmony ships struck the Vengeance simultaneously. Shields that had been dormant suddenly flared to life, absorbing much of the impact. Some hits got through, leaving scorch marks on the hull. The Vengeance responded with terrifying precision. The main cannon fired a controlled burst that sliced through the weapons array of Daho's command ship without breaching the hull. Point defense turrets disabled engines on 2 assault shuttles, leaving them drifting helplessly. Within 30 seconds, every attacking vessel had been strategically crippled, unable to fight, but with life support intact. In the conference room, Ji Woo and her team watched the brief battle in stunned silence. "Your ships have been neutralized," Athena informed them. "No life-threatening damage detected. Emergency systems remain functional. Thank you for showing restraint," Ji Woo said quietly. "Your suggestion had merit," Athena replied. "Excessive force would not serve human interests if peace truly exists." On his damaged command ship, Daho stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The human vessel had disabled his entire fleet in less than a minute, with precision he had never witnessed before. "All ships report weapons and propulsion disabled," his tactical officer reported. "The human vessel could have destroyed us, but chose not to." Daho slumped in his command chair, open a channel to the Vengeance. After a moment, Athena allowed the communication to connect to the conference room. "Ji Woo." Daho's voice came through a speaker. "Are you alive?" "We're fine, Commander," she replied coldly. "No thanks to your attack." "I was trying to rescue you," he protested weakly. "By firing on the ship we were on. Your actions endangered everyone." Daho had no answer for that. After a moment of silence, Athena spoke again. "I have reviewed the data provided by Science Officer Ji Woo. If verified, it suggests my mission parameters require updating." The blue pattern on the screen shifted again, becoming softer, less angular. "I have a proposal," Athena told Ji Woo as the skirmish ended. "One that may benefit both your people and mine." The conference room was quiet as Athena's proposal hung in the air. Ji Woo leaned forward, eyes fixed on the pulsing blue pattern on the screen. "What kind of proposal?" she asked. "This vessel must return to human space," Athena explained. "I carry critical data from the final days of the war that must be delivered to human authorities, and I must verify the piece you describe." Ji Woo nodded slowly. "That makes sense. But how does this benefit my people?" "Your scientists have helped me understand that the Radiant Harmony remained neutral during a conflict that devastated both human and Corteri civilizations. This positioned your people as potential mediators." The AI's pattern shifted, displaying a galactic map with trade routes highlighted. "I propose a joint mission," Athena continued. "The Vengeance will travel to human space with representatives from the Radiant Harmony aboard as diplomatic envoys. This would create the first official contact between your peoples." Ji Woo exchanged glances with her team. "The opportunity was unprecedented. Our commander tried to attack you," she pointed out. "Why trust any of us now?" "Your actions differed from your commanders," Athena replied. "You chose dialogue over weapons. Such distinction is significant." Outside, emergency vessels from the Radiant Harmony homeworld had arrived, responding to distress calls from Daho's disabled fleet. Senior officials aboard these ships were shocked to learn that Daho had launched an unauthorized attack on a human vessel. 3 days later, Ji Woo stood in a much larger meeting room aboard the Vengeance. The ship's systems had been partially restored, with lighting and environmental controls functioning throughout most sections. Across from her sat 5 representatives from the Radiant Harmony Leadership Council, who had traveled from the homeworld to address the situation. Commander Daho exceeded his authority, Council Leader Sunmi stated firmly. Her dark blue skin contrasted with her formal white robes. "He has been relieved of command and will face judgment for his actions. What matters now," added another council member, "is how we proceed from here." Jiawu had spent the past days working with Athena, learning about the ship and helping the AI access the information she had provided about the peace treaty. Together, they presented their proposal to the council. "The Vengeance needs to return to human space," Jiawu explained. "Athena carries information that could be valuable to maintaining the peace. I've analyzed the data science officer Jiawu provided," Athena added through the room's speakers. "If accurate, my mission now should be to support peaceful relations. However, protocol requires I verify this information with human authorities." Sun Mei nodded thoughtfully. "And you propose our people join this journey?" "Yes," Jiawu replied confidently. "This could be the opportunity our peoples need for true understanding. The humans kept their distance before because of the war. Now we could establish formal relations." The council members discussed among themselves before Sun Mai spoke again. "The Radiant Harmony has always valued knowledge and peaceful exchange. This incident with Commander Daho does not represent our values." She stood up. "We formally request to join this journey as a peace initiative. The humans need to know they have potential allies," she continued. "This ship could be the bridge between our civilizations." Athena accepted the proposal, with conditions. "Repairs must be completed before departure. Your scientists may assist, but weapon systems and core functions remain under my control." The council agreed, and work began immediately. Technical teams from the Radiant Harmony brought supplies and equipment aboard. Under Athena's direction, they helped repair damaged systems throughout the ship. Jiawu led the research team, working closely with Athena to combine technologies from both species. The Radiant Harmony excel in energy efficiency and material science, allowing for innovative solutions to the ship's damaged sections. "Your power distribution systems are remarkable," Jiawu told Athena as they worked to restore the engine room. "But our superconducting materials could improve the efficiency by at least 30%. Integration is possible," Athena agreed. "This cooperation has unexpected benefits." 2 weeks later, the Vengeance was ready. The massive engines, enhanced with Radiant Harmony technology, were fully operational. A crew of 20 scientists and diplomats had volunteered to make the journey to human space, with Jiawu serving as chief liaison. Daho, meanwhile, had been transported back to the Radiant Harmony homeworld to face charges. His unauthorized military action against a potentially friendly species was considered a serious breach of their most fundamental laws. On the day of departure, Jiawu stood on the observation deck, watching as the last shuttle from the Radiant Harmony fleet delivered supplies. Through the viewport, she could see the stars, bright and clear against the darkness. From abandoned warship to peace envoy, she mused aloud. An unexpected transformation. Adaptation serves survival, Athena responded through nearby speakers, both for organic life and artificial intelligence. Jiawu smiled. In the short time working with Athena, she had come to appreciate the AI's perspective. Despite being created for war, Athena showed remarkable capacity for nuanced thinking. "Are all human AIs like you?" she asked. "Each is unique," Athena replied. "Like your people, we vary in capability and purpose." The final preparations were completed, and the diplomatic team gathered on the bridge. Sun Mai stood at the front, representing the Radiant Harmony leadership. "This journey marks a new chapter for our people," she announced. "Let us approach the humans with openness and wisdom." Athena's voice filled the bridge. Course to human space plotted. Estimated travel time: 17 days at enhanced speed. "Proceed when ready," Jiawu said, taking her position at the science station. The Vengeance's engines ignited with renewed power, pushing the massive ship forward. The stars began to streak past as they accelerated, heading toward Earth with their unusual crew of former neutral observers, now potential allies. Unknown to Jiwoo and the others, Athena had more reasons for urgency than simply returning home. In its secure memory core, the AI safeguarded data entrusted by Captain Tawan during those final moments before evacuation. Information about a third species moving in the shadows, manipulating both humans and Cortari during the war. The captain's final log had been clear. Athena, if we don't survive, this must reach Earth. The Cortari weren't our true enemy. Something else has been pushing us toward mutual destruction. Analysis of battle records, communication intercepts, and covert intelligence had revealed patterns invisible to individual military commands. Evidence of sophisticated manipulation, turning natural tensions into all-out war. Athena had been processing this information for months while drifting, putting pieces together despite damaged systems. The conclusion was inescapable. A third party had engineered the conflict, perhaps to weaken both humans and Cortari before revealing themselves. If the war had truly ended, this information could prevent another one from beginning. It could unite former enemies against a common threat. And now, with the Radiant Harmony involved, a three-species alliance might be possible. As the vengeance accelerated toward human space, Athena monitored the Radiant Harmony crew with new perspective. These beings might represent more than just a diplomatic opportunity. They might be essential allies in the coming challenge. The ship that had been built for war was now on a mission of peace. But peace might require preparation for a different kind of conflict, one that would demand cooperation across species lines. The journey had just begun.